There are 4 elements that will help you configure your blueprint in Assistance PSA. This tutorial will provide you with an understanding of hour types, hourly rates, and hourly adjustments. In order to book hours in Assistance PSA, you must first configure the different hour types of your organization. Once this is done, you need to assign them to your users. By doing so, the hour type will automatically appear in the time entry window of the person's timesheet. Consequently, an employee will only have access to the hour type that will have been assigned to him or her. And because a person can play different roles within or between different projects, you can link more than one hour type to each individual. Assistance PSA will even allow you to set a default hour type per individual. If no default value is defined, PSA will then display in the timesheet the hour types by alphabetical order. Once you have configured your hour types, your next step is to define your hourly rates. Assistance PSA will give you the possibility of defining up to 3 prices per rate. They are the cost price, which represents the direct cost of an employee, for example, the salary cost plus benefits; the transfer price, which represents the direct cost plus the overhead costs of an employee; and the selling price, which is the amount that will be invoiced to the client. Assistance PSA will also provide you with the flexibility of managing your rates at the project level, the account level, or via your standard rates. And the decision to create project, account, and/or standard rates will be based on your business requirements. Now let's take a look at each one of these rates, and let's start with your standard rates. These rates will allow you to create rates per employee. In this case, whatever James does, he will always have the same cost, transfer, and selling rates, or per hour types. Here, whoever plays the role of a consultant in a project will have the following rates. Best practice, however, will be to create a cost and, if applicable, a transfer rate per employee and a selling price per hour type. And if you need to manage a special rate for an employee with a specific role, you can also create a rate with the combination of the two. Account rates will give you the same flexibility as with your standard rates. You can decide on an account rate for a specific employee, no matter his or her hour type. You can also define an account rate for specific hour types. In this case, whoever books time as a project lead, for any project of company XYZ, will have the following selling rate. And you can create an account rate for an employee with a specific hour type. So when James books time as a consultant for any project of company XYZ, he will have this selling rate. Now, account rates will provide you with one additional option than your standard rates, the possibility of defining an overall account rate. This means that any project of company XYZ will have the selling rate of $135 no matter who books time, and what his or her function is within the project. Project rates will give you the exact same options as with your account rates. You will be able to create a project rate per employee, per hour type, and/or the combination of the two. Finally, you will also have the possibility of creating an overall project rate. Because of the multiple options here, you can create project rates and account rates in addition to your standard rates. The following rule will apply. Project rates will always override your account and standard rates. Account rates will always override your standard rates. And your standard rates will be the default rates if no project or account rate can be found. In addition to this rule, PSA will also follow a specific hierarchy when determining what rate to apply to a time entry. In this example, James is entering time towards project 2012-104 with the hour type consultant. Based on this information, PSA will go in the rate table and will look for the correct rate to apply following a specific order. It will always look first for a project rate, because they override account rates. And it will always search for the closest combination to the time entry. In this case, it is looking for project 2012-104 with hour type consultant and employee James. If it finds it, it will stop here and apply this rate. If it can't find it, it will then go to the second best option, which is to find a project rate for the selected hour type. The third option will be to find a project rate for the selected employee. And the fourth option will be to find a project rate to apply systematically, whatever the hour type or employee. If no specific project rates can be found, the next best option for PSA will be to search for rates specific to the account of the project selected in the time entry. It will first look for rates created for the project account with the selected hour type and employee. If it can't find it, it will then look for a rate defined for the selected hour type. If no rates are defined for the selected hour type, PSA will then look for the employee rate. The last option will be to find an account rate to apply systematically, whatever the hour type or employee. If there are no rates specific to the account of the time entry, PSA will look at the standard rates for the combination of the selected hour type and the employee. If it can't find it, it will then look for a rate defined for the selected hour type. If no rates are defined for the selected hour type, PSA will then apply the employee rates. Finally, if there are no employee rates defined, the last option for PSA will be to apply a 0 rate to the entry. Now let's go back to our original scenario where PSA had found a project rate for James with the hour type consultant. In this case, we do have a selling rate. However, the cost and transfer rates have not been defined. To find these rates, PSA will follow the exact same hierarchy as explained before. It will first look if these rates were defined at the project level, and then account level, and if that's not the case, it will then look at the standard rates. Here, it will always look first for the combination of hour type plus employee, then hour type, and finally employee. In this case, it will find the cost and transfer rates at the employee level. In summary, PSA will always look for the best scenario when determining what rates to apply, and it will follow a specific hierarchy in doing so. This table illustrates the order in which the process will take place and what combination will override the other, Level 1 being the ultimate option that will prevail over all the others. One last important note. The rates that you will define will be used to calculate actual hours but also estimated hours. And in that last case, the same hierarchy will be followed in selecting the rate. There is one last item to cover when it comes to hourly rates, and it is the hourly rate adjustments. In Assistance PSA, you can create adjusting factors that can be applied to the hourly rates of your time entries. The process, done at the time entry level, is simple and will allow you to manage overtime, premiums, or any other types of markup. So, in order to estimate and book hours in Assistance PSA, 5 simple steps must be done. Let's take a look at them one last time. First, define your hour types. Then, link these hour types to your employees. Next, define your standard rates. Your project rates will be defined as you create your projects. And finally, create your adjusting factors. This completes this tutorial on hour types, hourly rates, and hourly adjustments. Your next step is to go in Assistance PSA and execute the exercises of the step-by-step guide, The Fundamentals.